Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Wyndburgh Actual Play campaign. This is session 26. As usual, I am your DM, your host, Commander Rod. And yeah, welcome to another episode. I am joined by my incredible players. Uh, Emily, who plays Ethildon. Say hi, Emmy.
She Lyndon on my B till I Johnson.
Very accurate. We have Rowan, who plays Gimnir.
Hello, everyone.
We have Czar, who plays Saltbrook. Accurate. And we have Tess, who plays Kira.
Hey, hey. Good to be back.
Nice. Last we left off, our our heroes had just executed a maneuver. Gimnir, have you decided on an official name for the maneuver?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Last time we left off, we left our audience with an amazing maneuver that Gimnir was a part of. Have you decided on the name of that maneuver?
I'm pretty sure it had something to do with flaming hairball or something like that.
Flaming hairball?
The descending flaming furball.
I like
Hairball meteor.
hairball meteor. That sounds very good. Um, so last time we left off, we participated in an epic fight in the middle of a blizzard against Wilosfraug, the ever-white demon. This beautiful dragon. Ethildon managed to hit an arrow into its left eye, and Gimnir and Saltbrook and Thalion had a combination attack where where Gimnir was levitated by Saltbrook over the dragon, started spinning on the way down, and Thalion set them on fire in order to hit the dragon with as much power as possible. It was a very. I gotta be honest, it was my favorite Gimnir moment so far. Um, and it had like perfectly timed music and everything. I had a lot of fun with that.
He took getting rotated to the next.
Very true.
Yeah, he did.
Get rotated. Um, and once we finished that fight, we found ourselves still in the middle of the blizzard with Saint Celestine in the middle of all of them. And her final comment before we finished the session was she looked at Thalion and she said, "Would you look at that? A drake worm, huh? Well, Slayer's really gonna want to talk to y'all." You find yourselves next to the ruins of the shed that you all slept in last night. The um, the snow falls around you, clouding your vision. Anything beyond, I want to say 20 to 30 feet around you is essentially clouded by the falling snow. Saint Celestine stands in the middle of all of you and she looks around. She looks you up and down, Ethildon, and she looks over at Thalion and she asks of you, You're a Drake Warden, aren't you? You're like one of them nutsos that flies on the backs of those things." And she points at Thalion.
We're not quite there yet. She kind of like pats him on the shoulder.
she walks up to Thalion, and Thalion seems a bit, intimidated by the sheer size of this woman. This 8'2" tall woman, just towering, exactly, towering over Thalion, and she bends over to look him in the face, and she very softly takes his head into her hands and like looks around, and her eyes seem to widen as she grabs a hold of his ears. You see these finned ears on the side of Thalion's head, and they look like this with a thin membrane right here, and like in the middle of these spikes. And she grabs hold of the top one and stretches the membrane a little bit, and she points at it and says, "You see these right here? These are ancient dragon fins. Dragons don't have these anymore unless they're older than, hell, I want to say 2,500 years, something like that. And the oldest dragons we currently got here in Faerun are something around, hell, I want to say 2,600, 2,700. It was roughly around the fall of Sylvania that they stopped having this kind of stuff. Fact is, the drake worms stopped really appearing. We thought they were all gone. Hell, you're from Sylvania. What do you know about it?" She looks at you, Ethildon.
She's kind of like wide-eyed and looking back between her and Thalion, like clearly not as much as you.
Hell, I expected someone like you, some knife-eared lady, to know more than I. Sorry, I shouldn't be saying that. Is that offensive? I'm not 100% sure.
Just kind of like looks at her.
I'll take it that it's offensive. I won't say it again. I apologize. Now, where are my manners? And she looks at all of you, and she says, "I am Saint Celestine. You could just call me Celestine or Cel or even Sally if it strikes your fancy. I'm fine with that. However, I was told by an associate of mine that you would all be here. Now, the question of here might be a little confusing for all of y'all. Where do y'all think you are right now?" And she sort of gesticulates to all of you.
In a snowy wasteland?
All right, a snowy wasteland. That's good. That's you're not too wrong about that. But here's the thing. This shed didn't exist in these parts until this morning, which is why my associate told me to come out here.
It was there last night.
Right. It was there where y'all got into it, but it wasn't here last night. Are you follow what I'm saying?
What, like it worked somewhere else?
Bingo. And she flourishes her halberd around her body and slams the non-bladed part, the blunt part of her halberd onto the floor or onto the ground. And as she does, you see that the snow begins to slow down. And as it does, you all see ahead of you in the distance a town. And behind it, you see that the landscape around you seems to concentrate up into a very, very high peak. Give me nature rolls, anybody that wants to do it.
always king?
Thank you, Queen.
Surprisingly, a 17, forgive me.
Nice.
I'm still pulling up my character sheet. I don't know why it wasn't up.
It's all good.
I've
Coke.
got beautiful 12.
Nice. Kokorin says, "Howdy, everyone. Oh, these sets are fantastic. Wow, it's the first time I'm catching a Wyndburgh stream live. Ah, bud, thank you, Coco. Much appreciated. Do let me know when you're coming to São Paulo so we can catch that drink you mentioned." A 12, a 17 by Gimnir.
I'm trying to remember the command. Hold on.
All good. Solbrook says, "We'll be intermittently dropping in and out to check on Dakiti."
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna see if it's not working. Do you remember the command for the roll spam channel? Sorry.
It's okay. It should be
Yes.
our...
Oh, it is.
Yeah, but you have to, like, select it after writing. So,
Yeah, okay. There you
D20... Oh, you got it?
I see. 16.
Cool, okay. So, Gimnir, you are the first to... Your eyes focus in the middle of this... in the middle of this snow falling down. You focus your eyes and you notice that this mountain has a very, very specific shape to it. And you not only realize the shape, but you also realize that your lungs feel almost a bit compressed. It's a bit too open. It's a bit hard to catch your breath up here, and you probably didn't notice it earlier because of how because of the adrenaline of the fight. But now that it's starting to subside and the heat of Thalian's fire breath is starting to wean away from your armor and your shield, you're starting to notice this oppressive cold and this feeling in your lungs. You are in the high ice. This is very high up on the high ice.
You'd think that fur would keep me warmer.
Create bonfire.
Do you do it?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Oh, campfire.
Valiant immediately pounces on it like a cat.
I mean, he pounces on it, but instead of just like playing with it, he just sort of lays right next to it.
Yeah, like curls up around it.
Kirith runs over and starts sort of warming herself on it as well. She looks over at you with a side eye, Ithilden, and she's like, "What? You know I get cold in moments like these." She starts rubbing her hands together and blowing into her palms.
What? I thought it was cold in hell.
Have you ever heard of the expression, "when hell freezes over"? Yes.
Oh, I was under the impression it had.
No. It's when hell freezes over. Not, oh, back when it froze. Swear to God. Some expressions are lost in certain people. Celestine looks over her shoulder and looks at all of you, essentially. And she says, "That up ahead is the high ice town. And my associate is within. Problem is, as I was leaving, we were dealing with some, I don't want to say undesirables, because that might make me sound like the wrong kind of person, but suffice to say, they're not very welcome in town. We was hoping you might be willing to help us out with that." And she turns over to the town and starts walking towards it.
Well, I suppose we might be able to find more refuge there since our last place was That, well, we all know what happened.
I don't know what happened. What happened? Was there a dragon? I couldn't see it.
Get a Philden to tell you.
Seven turns to you, Gimnir, and says, I believe what she is doing is a type of sarcasm. I could be wrong.
Thanks, Seven.
You are very welcome. I should start... Kira, Seven turns over to you, and, like, he does a stage whisper, so it's very clear for everyone else, and he says, I should start charging for that.
I think you might be able to convince him to give you stuff.
You really think so?
Try hard enough? I might be able to help you with that.
Ha! He'll never see what took him. Ithilden, Kirith just looks over at you and she just groans as she heats up her hands in the fire and then just puts them on her face, just trying to be a bit warmer. And she just shakes off the cold and says, all right, fine. If I have to be the first one to lead valiantly from the front, I will. And she starts following Celestine towards the town.
Ithos kind of like follows after her and gives Stallion the command to just kind of circle, kind of just, you know, take care of himself.
Thalion chortles a little bit. It's almost like a chuckle. He looks over at the fire, and with a fire breath of his own, he essentially just snuffs it out. And he turns around and takes off.
I like that visual.
Just the idea of a dragon just doing that. There's something so silly about it. Do you all follow?
Yeah.
I suppose we should.
Cool.
Yes, indeed.
As you begin to approach the outer gates of the High Ass Town, as you look around, you notice that there are several watchtowers and windmills and whatnot. They seem to be all unmanned. This is almost a very empty city in terms of defenses. And ahead of you, you see a large contingent of men in full armor bearing uniforms of blue color. You notice that blue can be seen repeated on Saltbrook's clothing, as well as Seven's waistcloth. And oh, go for it.
Hope we won't run into much trouble here. You guys do the talking.
You know what I just realized? It seemed like my reactive images is not reacting. Let me try.
Oh no, bro.
Oh no, bro. Uno momento, por favor. Aha. It should be working now. Maybe? Please? Yeah, it's being a bit annoying. I apologize. Wow. Okay. Anyway. I should just hide these then, as they're not doing their work. As you approach, you should be able to understand what their garments are. Can I get perception?
16.
Oh, it's a 24.
18.
Nice.
25.
Yep. All right. Kira, as you are walking next to Gimnir, you catch a glimpse of these soldiers' armors and the way that they're dressed. You recognize this shade of blue, specifically on the cloth, to be the mark of the Coalition. And it harkens back to the clothing of Alistair Fry that you encountered in... oops. You're not supposed to exist. That you encountered in... at the Peace Summit. Back in Sylvania. There we go. Ethilden and Gimnir. Ethilden and Gimnir, you also notice these colors to be of the Coalition. Saltbrook, it's so immediately and painfully obvious to you what these people are.
What are they?
That they are they're essentially a peacekeeping force
I see.
for the Coalition.
Would I have held any rank within Coalition that may give me command of lesser units?
Is your background soldier?
I technically yes, but I don't know if that's something I've actually written down somewhere.
Well, your character's background does come into play. Okay, yours is haunted one, but you were a soldier, so I'll allow it. I'll allow it to communicate with them using your background.
Very good. What's the equivalent of a sergeant rank in the Coalition?
A sergeant.
Where is your sergeant? I'm gonna shout into the freezing cold.
As you shout at them, you notice that most of them just sort of give you like a passing glance, and they keep looking forward. From the front of the group, you see some slight movement, and a man holding a staff comes to the back and approaches you. Speak your business.
Sorry, I was checking on the cat. Do we know the name of this town?
This is the High Ice town.
High Ice. Okay,
It's named after the mountain that it sits on.
I see. Shit, I don't. Questions. What questions do we have?
Give
Who's
it-
your commanding officer?
Given your perceptions, everyone, you will notice that there seems to be someone at the front of the gate standing there, while this group of Coalition soldiers just sits back and stands directed towards those gates. You notice peering eyes from within the buildings up ahead, from the windows, and it's eerily quiet. This is a little village. There should be some noise coming from here. It's just very, very quiet.
I asked the man who his commanding officer was.
I am the commanding officer here.
Name and rank.
Name and rank? What do I have to give it to you?
Oh, I've got something sneaky. Would I understand the coalition rank structure?
Yes, you would. 1 second.
I'd like to.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, there's Taylor. Taylor has joined us.
Hello.
Wow.
Hello, welcome to Wyndburgh. Our
I feel very lost because if I'm supposed to be seeing you, I don't know what I'm doing.
you don't see us. You just have to watch the live that we have on right now. Here on the D&D room, you can watch the stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to do something a little bit tricky for this.
What is your Saltbrook's trick?
I'd like to place a high-ranking insignia of the coalition on. Would I know the? I assume I would know the correct spot to actually place it.
You would.
I will minor illusion it onto my coat.
Saltbrook, on top of the area where your own private insignia used to be, after you ripped it, you minor illusion a, what did you put on?
I guess like a colonel rank or something.
A
like
colonel rank, okay.
would be pretty adequate.
Roll deception with advantage for me.
Deception?
Yeah.
Man, I have a +6 modifier on deception.
Yeah, you
Oh,
do.
would you look at that? It's 24.
You fucking bastard. Love that.
Meanwhile, Ethel like kind of walks up to Celestine and is kind of like, should I get him?
Celestine looks over at you, Ethel, and she says, "Listen, honey, that man is going to learn one way or another. If he succeeds, hell, I might even give him a kiss after this."
Hold and kiss.
She smiles.
In the meantime, Taylor, do you need any more information? Is there anything you don't know?
Yeah, just like fill me in on like the basics of the situation that we're in right now.
Okay. Last session, the party encountered a legendary dragon by the name of Wheelusraug and had a really cool fight with him. Took out their eye. Gimnir became a flying, spinning, flaming hairball of doom that was levitated by the warlock, Saltbrook, onto the dragon. It was a great time. You guys are here at the High Ice looking for a man called Slayer, who, according to Mimi and Mochi, know the location of the Father Forge, which is the artifact necessary to bring back Grimorian and Ripley from death. And you have just arrived here to this town after seemingly being warped like a few hundred kilometers onto the High Ice Mountain, which is the single highest mountain in all of D&D. Or Faerun, I should say. And as you approached the village, alongside Saint Celestine, who met you all yesterday, she's a beautiful 8.5-foot tall woman. Think Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones. And now, Saltbrook is attempting to talk to these coalition soldiers, one of the two big factions of our world, trying to talk to them and figure out what the situation is. So, Saltbrook, how do you approach this man?
I will grab the lapel or wherever is it on my arm or where would it be?
For coalition ranks, in your case, I believe it would be it would be like on your chest, like on your breast, on the left side, almost like a soccer team emblem.
Team logo?
Yeah, almost like that.
Coalition FC.
No.
With the ball.
Fuchi ball.
I will extenuate. I will what's the word for it?
Accentuate?
Accentuate, yeah.
Accentuate the fact that this badge that is 100% real is on my chest. That as his as the highest ranking person currently speaking, I need to know his name and rank.
As soon as you do this, you notice that all of the other soldiers around sort of like start murmuring between themselves, and the sergeant just looks around for a moment. You can't really see his face as it's under this combination mask and helmet, but he immediately pulls out from inside of one of his pockets a small little notebook, and he's like, God damn it. Sorry, sir. I'm just trying to do my job here. Please don't take it out of my pay. And he pulls out his corporate ID, which is on a small little roll of parchment, and he hands it over to you. And it's what you would expect out of a modern corporate ID, but it's just on a rolled up piece of parchment.
It's like a PNG of an ID card on a roll.
It's like it's printed, like stamped on.
Yeah. Old piece of parchment.
Yes, and it reads Eric Harkness.
Would that name ring any bells in my brain?
No, not specifically.
Fair enough. Why would I know this random sergeant in the middle of butt-fuck cold nowhere?
Exactly. And he looks over at you and he says, I frankly didn't expect for a colonel to be around these parts, but sir, what are you doing here?
I've been given orders by command to escort this motley crew through towards the high ice. And worry not, Sergeant Harkness, your pay will not be docked for this small infraction.
Oh, thank
Nobody
you, sir.
expected a colonel to be waltzing through the area.
That's very
I
true,
didn't
sir.
do myself.
Well, it's a good thing that you're here, sir. We do need help dealing with this, what do you call him? And he looks over at one of the soldiers, and the soldier sort of just gives like a shrug. He's all armored up. We can't see his face. Refuses to talk to us.
Does that guy stand by the gate there?
That's the one.
What have you gotten from him so far?
What have we got? We've got nothing, sir. We need to station our troops here in the high ice, as is per the mandate of our CFO for this area. And they're refusing to let us through.
Let me see your order, Sergeant Harkness.
Yes, sir. And he pulls out a small roll of parchment, bigger than the ID, and he hands it over to you. And as you open it up, you realize that it is encrypted.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You didn't think it'd be that easy, would you?
No, but I can probably finagle my way into it.
The sergeant essentially just stares at you for a little bit, waiting for you to finish reading.
I will roll the parchment and his ID back up. And hand it to him.
I can help with this actually. Question. Am I aware that he has been received something that he cannot read?
Unless he signals it in some way, he's over here to the side. If you would,
I'm just gonna play the bit, I think, and not read it just yet.
Taylor, if you'd like to sort of, finagle your way closer, like sort of to talk to him or something, then I would let you essentially figure that out. But
I strut to the front and I say, "Wow, these are big, shiny metal armor you have. Man, I should switch mine out for what you have." I kind of charisma my way into kind of having a conversation with the soldiers on the side. Oh, my God, it's just beautiful armor. Your sergeant, your general commander, I don't know who's in charge of you, but man, they're making all the right choices.
Just to play it up, I'm gonna look at the sergeant with one of those very tired, I've been dealing with this for hours upon hours looks. Just kind of sell the fact that I've had to escort these people through.
The sergeant looks over at you, Saltbrook, and he just says, "Long day, sir." Kirith.
Ithel's genuinely like stifling a laugh, like hand over her mouth. Like
Kirith, one of the soldiers in front of you with the halberds, if a mask could blush, it would. But you hear from underneath the mask, you hear like, "Thank you. I'm the one that made the choice for these armors."
Wow, someone's so smart, aren't they? They make such good choices. Good job. I'm proud of you. As I'm trying to have this conversation, I do take a few glances at my partner to my right, just to see if everything's going the way it's supposed to.
Give me an insight check, Kirith.
Actually, hold on. If it's encrypted,
It's not a different language.
fucking
It's still common, but it's encrypted.
That is an 18.
Okay. Kirith, as you look at Saltbrook, you can tell that he's sort of he's doing an act right now. And you can tell that he's sort of relaxed it a little bit once you started doing this. He felt the pressure off of him slightly. But you can tell he's still tense. Something's not quite right. He's in a bind.
I actually take the book from him. I say, I need to take a second look at this as well. I am his second in command. I follow his orders. Therefore, I should be also looking at this. I look to Saltbrook for confirmation.
You have no objections, Sergeant?
Go right ahead.
I'll hand the orders off to you.
I take it and I cast comprehend languages.
Oh no! You know the one that I had.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh my god. Kirith, you cast
Just both try to read it and we both just
Kirith, as you cast comprehend languages onto this page, let me just see something real quick. Cause I'm pretty sure comprehend languages has like several components to it, like verbal and somatic.
It says for the duration you understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that you hear. You
Yeah.
also see any
Oh, it doesn't
written
decode
language that you
secret
see.
messages into text or a glyph.
Exactly. So here's the thing. This spell takes a verbal and a somatic component, meaning that you have to speak like the magic words and also move your hands to do it, like physically. So
Oh, that is fine. I am not from this land. Can you not tell by my voice? They should know that. Peasants.
Lieutenant, I'll take those orders back. I'll talk to the sergeant at a later date.
wait, hold on. Kirith, are you using your background for this?
Yes, duh. I am not from this land. If these humans think that I can read this shit, they're stupid.
Actually, kind of genius. Holy shit.
Okay, hold on. The general looks a bit. The sergeant looks dumbfounded at you, Kirith, and he looks over at you, Saltbrook, and he's like, "I can read it out loud if you don't. If you need me to. Wouldn't want to be a bother for you."
That's fine, sir.
Actually, that would help a lot. Thank you. I'd very much appreciate that, because this is a waste of my spell. Okay? So I appreciate that.
Lieutenant, hand the sergeant the orders and let's get this over with, and then we'll deal with Buddy Boy in the way of the city.
Speaking of Buddy Boy, can my elf eyes discern anything about what he's doing, or is he just standing there?
He's literally just standing there menacingly. In fact, he is just unnaturally still. Like, it's almost as if he is not alive. He's like a statue, just standing there.
Could
He
one
kind of
recognize
like,
anything about his armor?
What'd you say, Ethel?
Could like one recognize anything about his armor?
Give me perception. Taylor, what'd you say?
Wait, I was just thinking like of an observation of kind of like a armor suit that's alive, kind of like Mordekaiser from League of Legends kind of thing.
Right. Ethel rolled a 23 for perception. Ethel, as you focus your attention on the man standing by the gates, you see no trace of like vestigial movement. It's almost like this person is just completely still. You also see no breaches in the armor that would show their skin or any type of cloth underneath the plating and the joints. The armor is kind of alien to you. It has these horns protruding out of the helmet, and these 2 gold horns on each one of the pauldrons, as well as a red loincloth that falls from their waist.
How long is the loincloth? Sorry.
My God.
Sorry.
You also notice that the horns on the helmet seem to follow this almost natural pattern, right? It's almost as if it's just they're naturally growing out of the helmet. And there you go. Saltbrook, you see that the sergeant has his hands out towards you, Kirith.
Tiefling.
I was.
He was about to call me just a simple tiefling. Ugh, disgusted.
Offensive even.
Dude, Rods get racist up in here.
Listen,
Entirely.
you were the one that was asking me about all the different types of like fantasy creature slurs.
I was.
She was, and I have a very interesting list of them, which I will refuse to use for most of the campaign. So Kirith, this sergeant has his hand extended towards you, asking for the parchment back.
I give it to him.
He opens it, and you watch as he takes off his helmet. He's a drow. He's a dark-skinned elf with very, very long ears, longer than most high elves and wood elves. And he, essentially, as he takes off his helmet, he pulls out small little spectacles and begins to read the parchment. And he looks over your shoulder, Saltbrook, over to the other members of the party, essentially trying to, sort of like, all right, come over here. Like, let me read this to you. He pulls you to the side, essentially. And as he does, he begins to read it to you, Saltbrook. He says, our orders are to enforce coalition control around these parts. Now, High Ice has been far away from our sphere of influence for a while now, but Director Thomas Hines wants us to take control of it. And as he says the name Thomas Hines, you remember that name from the Peace Summit. They were, that name was one of the 3 members of the coalition delegation that went to the summit. We were supposed to take control of this area, but the man over there by the gate is a problem. Same goes for, funny enough, your companion over there. And he points over to Saint Celestine, who's just, she's busy looking at the snowflakes coming down.
Why would that be a problem there?
Well, our division did have 75 men.
I see.
We've been trying to infiltrate men into the High Ice Town to take control of their militia for a while now. Well, that man has been killing all of them and leaving their bodies to hang.
I see. Well, Sergeant, I'll hand back the papers that he had handed me.
He takes it back and rolls it up, tucks it into his jacket, and takes spectacles off, puts them in the internal pocket of his jacket, puts the helmet back on.
Let's go have a chat with big man over there.
Oh, be careful, sir.
I will. Come along now. I'm gonna signal to the rest of the party to come walk with me.
Junior follows along.
Nice. As
Your
you,
men in support if something goes down, Sergeant, but we should be able to handle this.
right away, sir. As you all make your way through the soldiers, Ethel, you feel watched in the midst of these soldiers. Like, there's a lot of attention on you specifically.
Ah, damn, why that hot?
Auspicious.
As you approach the man standing in front of the gates, he puts his left hand forward in a halt position, and give me insight checks, everyone.
That's my second favorite chick.
I got a 6.
That's my second favorite one.
6 as well.
6, 15.
8.
Gibner got an 8. And a
A 10.
gotcha. So, Ethel, you immediately recognize what Slayer is doing. He is looking directly at Celestine, and he is signing. He's using sign language to speak to Celestine. But this is a very specific type of sign language. It's a sign language that you understand because it's the type of sign language utilized to talk about dragons.
Talk about dragons?
Yes, it's the type of sign language utilized specifically when it comes to scientific and in-depth terms about dragons.
Is this like Sylvanian specific sign language? Is this like militaristic sign language?
Almost like it. It's very similar in its roots, but it's not Sylvanian. As he signs to Celestine, the words you understand are, you have with you 2 blue ones. And of the 2 blue ones, one speaks in too friendly a manner with those willing to take down my city. Why is that? And Celestine signs back, and she says, it is but a deception. It is not meant to offend you, Slayer. And Slayer responds with, these are the ones that would be worthy? I think not.
I just kind of,
Oh, what's up?
I just kind of sign like, why?
As you do that, you notice that Slayer's head slightly turns to the side. You can't see their face through their helmet, but you see the helmet move slightly to the side and tilt towards you. He signs to you. I see we have a dragon one amongst us.
You denied saying among us. Why was that?
He just signed Among Us. And Celestine responds with, she has a drake worm in her presence. And as she does this, Slayer looks up at the sky and then back down. And he walks over to you, Saltbrook. And he stands, I want to say, half a foot away from you. You detect no breath, no nothing underneath this armor. But you can detect his gaze. He is looking at you up and down. He then turns to
Stare at him.
He then turns to Celestine and says, this blue one does not impress me.
Do they both wear Federation red?
Give me perception.
My first favorite channel. Ooh, is a 10.
You can still detect that it is Federation red.
Interesting. Okay. Makes him 5% less hot.
He takes a moment and looks at you, Ethilden, and signs and asks, what is it that you seek?
Was it the Father Forge that we were just directly looking for, or something that would take us to the Father Forge? It was like...
Yeah, you were looking for a person that knows where it is.
Would there be a proper sign for something like that in this language? Like for something like Forge or Warforged?
You could say parent and blacksmith, essentially. Or
Okay,
parent
I see.
furnace.
Alright, then I kind of go, we're looking for one to take us to the parent forge or something along those lines.
He stops. He turns to Celestine. And then he turns around and walks back to where he was. As he turns around, you all notice that lining his spine is these, almost these scales, almost these spikes protruding out of their armor. Along their arms, you see these fins, and the same goes for their calves. He finally signs, I will tell you no such thing until my city is safe.
Gimnir, not understanding anything that is going on, turns to Kira and is just, man, it's always the mysterious ones, isn't it?
I'll be back in a second. I'm checking on Key.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible for me to kind of open my mind-brain channel, if you will, to Kira and her spirit, so she could kind of like get the gist of the translation?
I
Or
think
does she
it would
have to,
have to
like-
be initiated by Kira.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I was already thinking about doing that sometime very soon.
Ethel, you could just like sort of look back and, give Kira a little bit of a sign.
Yeah, okay. I give her the bombastic side eye of reaching into my my mind hole.
Kira reaches back with her mind hole.
As the mind holes connect,
Mind tunnel.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
as the mind tunnel forms, Kira, you become aware of the conversation that was just had.
Okay.
Ithel then continues to sign, like, safe from what?
And he doesn't sign back. He just points at the soldiers. From behind you all, Seven decides that he has a great idea. As he passes by you, Ethildon, he says, "Don't worry. I am very good at dealing with strangers."
7.
He
Oh.
walks in front of all of you and he says, "Greetings, faceless one. We are here searching refuge in your city. You will give that refuge to us because we are the good guys." Slayer stays silent. And Seven decides to walk towards Slayer, putting a hand out to essentially do a handshake. He looks back at you, his lower right one. He looks back at you, Saltbrook, and he winks because you're the one that taught him what a handshake is.
But he winks very slowly with both eyes.
Yes, he blinks each one individually.
Sorry.
And he puts his hand out and he looks at you, Saltbrook, and he says, "Watch these." And he looks back at Slayer, and he's like, "Oh, I see you are new to this as well." With one of his tentacles, he grabs a hold of Slayer's right arm in order to, clasp it with his to show him what it's like. And as he does, Slayer grabs a hold of one of his tentacles and essentially just rotates Seven on his ass and throws him onto the ground.
Rotated idiot.
I was waiting for it to get rotated. I knew immediately.
In what?
Also, That was the
More
most-
sketches need to be made.
that was the most John RP decision you have made yet.
Yeah, that is what the man would do. And Slayer just grabs him and immediately just rotates him onto the ground and smashes him onto the snow. And you just hear Seven go, "That is not how you do a handshake. Is this what the hug is? I do not know." And without speaking another word, Slayer just sort of, it's a very powerful move, but there's almost no impact. He just pushes Seven away with his foot, and Seven just like flies across the snow and falls back along with the group.
I kind of want to just directly, kind of like seriously turn to Celestine and ask, like, whom do you and Slayer serve?
Who do we serve? What do you want me to say? Bahamut?
You both come wearing Federation red, and you ask us to decimate a legion of Confederation, or not, is Confederation, is that the right word? No, Coalition, sorry.
Hell, I didn't ask you to do a goddamn thing. That is him. Slayer is the one that's the more temperamental between the two of us. Listen, we're not Federation. We might be wearing Federation red. That's because we were in Federation territory. It makes it easier to walk around. I certainly am no servant of the Federation. No siree. Or ma'am, I should say.
Okay, I sign one more thing to Slayer. I ask him, is this your home?
He responds, "My home is the Father Forge."
Oh, what? Kira, Bessie, you getting this?
You're speaking sign language.
I give like basic affirmative vibes in Fieldin's direction.
The idea that Ethel's mind is just a Twitch stream and Kira's a
Yeah.
moderator.
Oh, chat, you seeing this?
Incredible.
Oh, Kira, thanks for the tier 3 sub.
Yeah, no problem, bestie.
I'm sorry for taking it a bit too far.
No, it's all good. I
Oh my
like
God.
reactions like these. That's why
Oh, I
I do
genuinely
this.
wasn't expecting that. Oh, I'm all tingly.
Yeah, so he signs to you, my home is the Father Forge.
She like snaps her eyes to Kiedith. I don't know if Kiedith is picking up on this with her background at all, but like her eyes are like wide and like girl, girl. It's girl sign language is what we're doing.
Gareth, give me give me an insight with advantage. Girl advantage.
Girl, woman advantage.
Girl advantage.
Gal pals partially in love.
That is a 16.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Kirith, Ethildon really needs to talk to you.
Kirith is just like reeling in her mind. She's like, girl code. We talked about this. What the? And she's like scrambling to understand what girl code means again. So she just quietly scoots in the snow, just like a little bit closer to her, inch by inch. And yeah, she
Oh my
goes,
God.
nah.
He says his home itself is the Father Forge.
And that means what exactly?
That's what we're looking for to bring back your Ripley boy.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
you're super into
So-
it. Like you're the one who you brought me into this. Like yeah.
Earth is gonna have a very delayed reaction. It's almost like she takes 5 minutes to understand what is happening and comprehending, and she goes in a booming voice. She's like, "Oh my god, this! Oh my god, I get it now. Oh, this girl code is so good. It makes so much sense now. I like this code that we have. The girl in girl code."
Ethildon, Kirith,
She
and
smacks her forehead.
Ethildon, Kira, and Kirith, please put inspiration on your pages. So fucking stupid. I love it.
Oh, Kenneth might believe it. Sorry. I gotta like come back to it. Holy shit.
Salt,
that's great.
Saltbrook, are you back?
Yep.
Okay. Salt, you feel the eyes of this entire battalion on the back of your head, just waiting for you.
Like, I don't know. You think we fight him? I think we smack his penis.
2 questions.
Get your
One,
hands off of my penis.
Get your hands off my penis. Okay, 2 questions. 1, can I quickly cast Primeval Awareness? 2, having been around constructs now, the Warforged, could one sense, like, you know, pick up the same, like, vibe, aura, lack thereof, if, like, this man were to be a Warforged or a construct?
Primeval awareness is not gonna let you do that.
I understand that. I'm asking 2 separate things. I would
Okay,
cast it
right,
anyway.
yes. Okay, let's go with primeval awareness first. You do not detect... You detect one aberration, as per usual. You don't detect any celestials. You do not detect any dragons.
Okay, that was kind of my big question.
You detect no elementals, no fae. You detect one fiend, and no undead.
Okay.
As for what you're trying to detect, I have a DC set in my mind, and I need you to roll a flat 20.
Okay.
If you hit that DC, I'll give you a direct answer, confirming or denying it.
I have a 15.
then I will not give you any answer.
Okay. Bitch.
Just get good, obviously.
Junior, you're gonna make me use my inspiration. Shut up.
Man's essentially pulling a Monty Python's None Shall Pass Black Knight.
And your mother smells of elderberries.
Celestine turns to y'all and says, all right. Anybody got any idea? 'Cause he'll let me in. It's a matter of whether he'll let y'all in.
Yeah, if he's your little buddy, just tell him to fuck off.
I don't think he's interested in letting any of us in.
Tell y'all what. I'll give it a shot. She walks over to Slayer, and you can see her hands are very frantically moving in front of her. She, like, sticks her halberd onto the snow and is, conversing with Slayer. And Slayer very methodically, very, he doesn't, there's no change in his demeanor. He just signs back. And you hear Celestine sigh for a moment. And she walks back and says, all right, here's the gist. He don't find no problem letting you all in, except for you. And she looks over at you, Saltbrook. However, he'd be inclined to let you win on one condition. You're gonna have to take off that, coalition getup.
He wants me to take my jacket off?
Not just your jacket. See, you're still wearing that, insignia.
Ah.
And
Gimli walks up behind Saltbrook, places a hand on his shoulder, and just sort of like whispers in his ear, "Someone has an admirer."
It's going in one ear and out the other.
So was that little whistle thing that you did?
That was the noise of like, the minor illusion disappearing from my bed jacket.
Okay. As you do that, Slayer does not move.
He really wants me to take the jacket off.
Hell, don't ask me, ask him.
Do you really want me to take the jacket off?
He, you just see him nod, slowly.
Okay, I'm going to stick the banner into the ground, take off my 2 gauntlets, my hat, my backpack, and I will neatly fold my jacket into a small square, put it in my backpack, pick up the banner, put the backpack back on my back, and reaffix my hat, as well as return my gauntlets to my hands.
While that is all happening, I would also like to whisper to Celestine, if you two truly aren't coalition, what business of it is his? Or, I mean, Federation, not coalition, so. Too many words.
Do you have any idea what the coalition's been doing these lands? Think about it.
I was gonna say, she's got the blank stare of clearly not.
Think about it. This is obviously an independent settlement. That man right there clearly cares about the settlement. And look behind you. She points over to the entire battalion of soldiers. If the people of this town really wanted their protection, you'd think they let a single man stop them?
I think he doesn't want to throw more men at the walls.
And you clearly don't understand Slayer. He don't throw anybody into anywhere he himself wouldn't be.
About the coalition.
Well, Coalition get paid for it.
Coalition gets paid for it, but they sure as shit don't want to be walking into death itself.
Can't cash in a paycheck if they're dead.
Ding ding.
As you take off your jacket, Saltbrook, you see the Slayer's shoulders sort of relax a little bit. It's a very tiny difference. And he lifts his right hand towards you, points at you, clenches his fist, and then lifts his thumb, giving you a thumbs up. Well, that's what we're waiting for. And she starts moving and passes by Slayer, making her way into the town.
Ithel will be next. And she's gonna get like a good old look at this big bitch.
As you pass by him, Ethel, you'll notice that he's not wearing any weapons, but you notice that his vambraces and his gauntlets are pretty fucked.
Can you see into his visor?
You can try.
Girl, what do you want me to roll?
Perception.
My favorite. Oh, it's a 14. Do I have to beat his AC?
If that was the case, you wouldn't have succeeded. But as you try to peer into his visor, you notice that he turns his head away slightly from you.
He's shy. I can fix him.
As the rest of you make your way inside, and Slayer has Seven passing by his side, Slayer looks over at Seven, and Seven just goes, "All right, yes, I'm sorry. No more touchy. I understand." And as you're making your way inside the town, you hear behind you, "Oi! So many of this!" As the coalition soldiers have approached the gate, and the sergeant is right in front of Slayer. "So many of this, Colonel!" Salty Brook. He might be taking care of the cat.
Kitty!
Sir, please.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
There you are. As you all make your way into the town, you hear from behind you, Saltbrook, the voice of the of the sergeant calling you. "What's so many of these, Colonel?"
You'll have to give me some time to figure this out, Sergeant.
Wait a minute. Where's your insignia?
Sergeant. And I'm just gonna turn around. Actually, you know what? unclip a little baggie of some gold because I do feel bad about kind of bamboozling somebody like that. And I'll toss 60 gold pieces towards the sergeant.
He bends over to grab it, and he looks at you, and he says,
"Go retire, Sergeant."
"You goddamn bastard."
Chat with your men.
Fucking as if. We're moving out, men. We'll be back. And they start moving out. As they do, Slayer, you all see Slayer's whole, like, demeanor relax. It's almost like there's a weight that falls from his shoulders, and his arms just sort of hang by his side. And he takes a deep breath. And he turns around, and he lifts his hand and motions. And from inside one of the buildings, you hear the sound of fabric in friction against more fabric, almost like a rope. And you see a small child on a zip line, making its way from the window of this building right here onto this watchtower, and pulling on a lever as the doors of the town begin, the gates of the town begin to close. As he walks towards you, you see Slayer essentially motions shoo to all of you to get inside. Yeah, the collisions in this map are fucking horrible.
I prefer not to be crushed in the gate, so only choice is forward.
Give me your Gatesbane.
Gatesbane. He killed Bill Gates. That would be the title, though, Gatesbane.
Yeah.
Or Microsoft's Bane.
He single-handedly dismantles capitalism at Faerun.
That would be so sexy of him. Alright. As you make your way into this town, you begin to see people coming out of the buildings. And many of them walk over to Slayer, and they're thanking him and, you know, just hugging him, and some kids are just like tugging on the cloth, on the red cloth in front and behind him, and he doesn't seem to react much to it. And in one of the buildings, you all see this big steam cloud emerge. And looking inside, you notice that there seems to be hot springs inside.
Yo.
I'm actually very, very excited to try those. I've heard of them. If you'll excuse me. And Seven just runs in and makes his way into the hot springs building. Well, y'all might want to take some time out and try to relax since you've arrived. Probably didn't have a good night of sleep last night. Would you say that?
I roll my eyes.
Oh, come on. You don't have to be coy with me. I see the frost on the tiefling's horn. And she just flicks Kiritha's horn, and a small little frozen bit of ice just gets flung off. We got a tavern in the town, if you'd like to sit down and drink something warm. Unless, of course, you won't talk to Slayer right now and try to get this over with.
Let's just figure out what we can do.
So we still kind of have like in our remaining battle wounds from Citragon.
Yes, yes, you do. And Ethel, you have a level of exhaustion. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, can my YouTube stop acting funky? Thank you.
All right. What would y'all like to do right now?
I think I will take a drink at the tavern, but the first thing I'd like to do is actually scout the town and be aware of my surroundings before I drink.
Nice. All right, cool. Give me an investigation, Kirith. Anybody else would like to do something similar?
I was just gonna say, like, Ethel kind of
Ah.
says, like, we could all stand to get warm and restock and lick our wounds.
That roll was a solid 4.
You can use your inspiration if you'd like to re-roll that.
No, she's like,
Yes.
there's buildings, that's enough knowledge. Time to get drunk.
That is an unnatural 20.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Cool. Kirith, as you make your way through the streets of the High Ice Town, it's a very small little village, quaint, one could say, and you notice that the streets are pretty empty, but you can hear the bustling insides of all of these buildings. It seems like the town itself is pretty complete in terms of goods and services. You pass through a blacksmith, a library, a temple. You pass through the tavern that you'll undoubtedly return to later. But the one thing that seems to be lacking is the barracks. It's empty, completely, devoid of anyone.
Odd. Before I make it to the tavern, I do see if there's a doctor in town, and I pick up some medical herbs and things Ear would like, and the group needs for wounds and shit.
All right.
Herbs and spices.
Honestly, for that,
Herbs and spices and everything nice.
what's the KFC number of spices? 11? 7?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't remember either. Fuck.
For that, put another inspiration on your page. That's very good. Ethel, Kirith, you come across a small apothecary, and inside you see this crooked old man who can barely see 2 feet ahead of him, and as you open the door, he just turns over to you and says, "Is that you, Slayer?"
Wait, I'm going in the church?
No, it's a little apothecary.
What the fuck is that?
It's like a little... It would be the equivalent of a pharmacy.
Oh, that's fine. I don't do churches. Oh, God. Have you seen me?
It's like
Oh,
it's the Castlevania question. Do you think I would be set on fire if I walked into a church?
That is exactly it.
Um,
I kind of put my hands up and I say, old man, no worries, no worries. I am not here to hurt you.
Is that you, Slayer?
No.
I have no cold to give you.
Is that man stealing from you?
No. Wait. What man?
Slayer.
Hello.
Oh, God. Old man, I need medicine.
Why
For
didn't you
my people.
Why didn't you say earlier? And he opens a small drawer, and inside the drawer there's a bunch of herbs and spices. And he tries to look at you. His eyes are like looking in different directions, none of which are yours. And he says, What exactly do you need?
I need healing herbs and medicine from my friends. They're wounded. They need help.
Okay, king's foil. You gotta spit on it and then mash it up against your hand. It'll be good for cuts. Here you go. Do you want me to spit on it first? Probably.
No,
Oh,
I'll use my own. Thank you.
okay.
I
Not.
do have a question though.
Yes.
You were, how do I say? You seemed frightened when I entered your, pharmacy, and I ask why.
I was hoping you were Slayer, but you're not.
Why?
Because he is a fine young man. I just don't have any coal for him today.
So he is taking care of you, no?
He takes care of the whole town.
By himself.
Yes.
Good to know. Old man. Is there
Ma-
any spices
Micah.
you have I can...
You can call me Micah.
Micah?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'm not old. I'm 63.
I see you're still in your youth. I
In
see.
my prime.
Yes, as humans would say, prime, for sure. She kind of has a hard time keeping it in her face to believe this lie.
I'm.
Old man Micah, do you have, or prime Micah, do you have spices I can put in, hot chocolates?
Here. And he goes over to a little tree and he cracks it and he hands it over to you. This is cinnamon tree. It's like the spice, but a tree. And lo and behold, it actually smells just like cinnamon. It's like a small little twig that he took from this little tree, skeletal little tree. It smells like cinnamon.
Beautiful. And before I pay you, is there anything I can help you around your home or house or this workstation before I leave? You seem, I mean, I know you're in your prime, but I just want to make sure you're okay.
He walks up to you and he like arranges his glasses properly to see you properly, his eyes squinting, and he says, "Oh, you're one of them tieflings, aren't you?"
Yeah, most people get scared when they see me properly, so kudos to you.
I've been to the Nine Hells a few times back when I was younger.
She raises her eyebrows.
All right, here you can help me with something, and he pulls out a small little log, and he hands it to you, and he says, "If you could set this on fire and make it into a piece of charcoal, I'd really appreciate it."
I think I'm gonna arrange that. Alrighty. I think I will cast Control Flames, since I don't want to set his house on fire.
Very good. So you burned the log?
Yes.
Okay. Once it becomes a smoldering little ball of charcoal, essentially, he starts like blowing on it to stop it from being a flame, and he says, "Okay, now take this one to Slayer. Say that Micah sent it. He needs it."
Beautiful.
And he takes the herb and puts it in a little leather baggie, and the cinnamon bark, puts it in there as well, and he ties it with a bit of coarse leather string and hands it over to you. His hands shake under the very minute weight of this bag.
I grasp his hands in mine, and I say, if you do have a fireplace, I could set that on fire just to keep you warm inside before I leave.
No, I'm all right. Old Fire Genasi still has its tricks, you see.
Nod, I bow, just because I want to respect the fact that he may be an old, withering man, but I respect his spirit as a warrior.
As you bow, he, he doesn't bow back, but as you're bowing, he puts his hand on your head and like ruffles your hair a little bit. You're a good kid, Slayer. I'll see you later.
Oh, stop. I'm gonna cry.
And he turns around and puts his hands behind his back and walks back over to his counter.
I leave, and then I think I will wait at the tavern with hot chocolates with herbs inside the hot chocolates and the cinnamon as a topper so that they don't taste the herbs.
All right. As you all arrive to the tavern together, you see Kirith just sitting there in like one of the corner tables. On uh on top of the table that she's at, you notice a few mugs of a dark brown steaming substance. A couple of bards play inside of this tavern. It's pretty lively for the size of this town. And as you make your way inside, you notice that everyone seems to be in there, like the entire village.
Be a big ass tavern. Did Homeboy come with us?
As you make your way in, you notice that Slayer has made his way to the counter, and he's just sitting there.
Oh, ears, I have something for you. I pull out the charcoal little bomb that Micah gave me. I say, give this to Slayer and say it is from Micah.
From Micah.
Yes.
Okay. I give I give Kenneth kind of like, another girl code, raises her eyebrows and then turns to kind of like go talk to the man.
As you approach Slayer, you notice that he's sitting at the counter with a mug of ale. And he doesn't react to your arrival.
I guess Ethel kind of like leans against the counter like next to him. Do you speak the common tongue, sir?
Without moving his head, he lets go of his mug, and he signs with one hand that he has sworn off of verbally speaking a long time ago.
She kind of like nods. Well, you understand at least then, and kind of like smiles.
He nods.
Are you the warden here? The people seem to respect you. You care for them.
He takes a look around at the people, and he signs, they have nobody else.
She digs out the charcoal log. She says, I don't know the context of this, but my friend said that this is from my company. And she kind of like places it on the counter next to him.
He turns his head to look at the charcoal. And he looks over at you, Kirith.
Just do a slight nod.
He nods back.
Both thumbs up, aggressively nodding. Big smile.
I can imagine it.
I was gonna say that's what goes to my head.
Me too, yeah. He turns back and he grabs a hold of the charcoal, and he looks at you. He opens a small little pouch that he has on the side of his waist and puts it in there. And he signs to you, Ethel. Why do you search for the Father Forge? And he signs it in a way that makes complete sense, but that you didn't know was a thing.
Okay. She kind of like looks around, but then like proceeds to like sign back. Her and I have both lost someone.
He asks someone.
Her, a man. Myself, a warforged.
When you sign Warforged to him, he takes a moment. He grabs his mug of ale, and he essentially pours it down his helmet holes, and he puts it back down. And he signs, "Where did you meet a Warforged?"
He came to us in Wyndburgh. I had never seen one or met one before, let alone know what they were.
There are few who do.
Our, she kind of like makes a very odd general gesture of like contractor or leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brought him onto our team, per se.
Gotcha. Oh, and just a heads up, everybody. Tess and Rowan are hopping off of the session due to some stuff they have to deal with. No problem, no stress. Let's keep going.
Good night, guys. I love you dearly.
Good night, guys. As
The mind hole disconnect.
Ethel, you see, it could almost be seen as a chuckle. And Slayer signs, "I myself am in the employ of a," and then he uses the weird general sign for benefactor that you use. And he says, she's not the most clear director.
She kind of like waits a minute, and then kind of like whispers to him aloud, not necessarily in the sign language. I don't know how well Ine would relay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Mimi?
And as soon as you say this, he just turns to you, like, much faster than you've seen him move before. And you sense some aggression. And then he signs. How do you know that name?
Well, I think the short answer would somehow be her ex is our benefactor. You met Mochi?
At the mention of the name Mochi, he picks up the mug again and takes a big swig.
Ithel, like, motions for 2 more. 2 more mugs.
Saltbrook and Kirith, while this is happening, Celestine is sitting next to the two of you, and she says, well, whatever it is she's saying, it's working. Slayer isn't one to drink as much as he is right now. And Ethel, Slayer looks over at you and says, telling you the location of the Father Forge is something that would break my vow. But my vows are made to be broken for the right reasons.
She signs back like, who or what have you sworn this vow to?
Ethel, he pulls from his little pouch a familiar piece of blue material. He puts it on the counter. And he says, "Do you know what this is?" He signs.
She gets out a little bit of her own, but then she kind of like nicks her finger with like the knife. It was like she like pares off a little piece of her resin, nicks her finger with it, and sparks it to show him that like her blood would glisten that like soft blue.
Yeah. And he signs, "So you are dragon's blood then?"
I think so.
Do you know what that means for an elf like you?
There's stories, children's stories, and she just kind of shakes her head.
She looks over. He looks over his shoulder and stares at Kirith, and then at Saltbrook. He then looks at you and says, "Can you trust the blue one?" Meaning Saltbrook.
She like takes a second. Like, he's given me no reason not to yet.
He pulls out a piece of... He grabs the lump of charcoal and he breaks off a small piece from it, and he signs map to you.
Do I have one?
You should. As an adventurer, you should have a little map.
Bam! On the table.
As you pull out your little map, he points to the high ice where you are right now. And he points to the city of Silvery Moon. And there he says, he signs to you, "There you will find a place to look for the star."
She kind of smiles and takes the charcoal from his hand and like draws the crystal that I think Kirith carries it.
Yes, Kirith, you do have the crystal in your possession. If you would like to gesture to Kirith for her to bring it forth, essentially.
In a bit, I kind of want to just carry out my conversation with Homeboy, and then we can discuss.
All right. As you draw that, he looks at you and sort of cocks his head to the side, and he signs, "Then you have seen it." Sorry, no. "Then you have met him." Sorry. That is what he signs.
Oh, she kind of like you know, again goes quiet for a second, and like her eyes soften, and like she nods.
And with his hand, he makes a 1. He lifts one finger.
She says aloud his name, Primus.
He nods. And from your reaction, he takes the charcoal back, and he draws a circle. He puts his finger to it, and then he signs to you. That is where you will find it. The Father Forge.
She like snaps her eyes up to him. And she like asks him, "You would tell me just like that. What about your vow?"
He signs to you. My vow was to Primus. If you were not worthy, you would not have lived.
Sorry about the delay there. Just had a little breakthrough with the kitty cat.
Oh, what was the breakthrough?
It's okay.
He left his little safe area. He went around the basement.
Yes!
Oh, baby boy.
Good stuff.
That makes me happy.
So he looks at you and signs, my vows were to Primus. Were you not worthy, you would not have survived.
That's sick, first of all.
And he looks over at Saltbrook and then back at you and signs, what did he think of the blue one?
She kind of like huffs a laugh. And it was interesting at first, but I think he liked him in the end.
He nods his head slowly.
Kind of like grabs her shit and kind of like stands up and motions with her head, like she's gonna go to the others and for like him to come with.
He takes a moment. He's definitely not accustomed to people being so casual towards him. But he follows shortly after.
Oh, I got that riz.
Kirith and Saltbrook, you see Ithilden approach the table, followed by Slayer. Go for it, Ethel.
She just kind of like right to Kira. Kira, I have great news.
Oh, do tell.
She like smacks the map on the table, and then kind of like looks up to Slayer, and it's like, she carries the star.
And he essentially like motions to see it.
Get a little bit defensive, like you could see my muscles tense up. And this is a trustworthy person.
With any amount of charisma that this woman can muster, she like looks up at him and she's like, I don't see why not. She likes him big, I can't lie. She likes him big and stupid.
Ethel, he looks down at you, Kirith, and he can tell that you are very, distrusting in this moment. And he opens his palm and he places his hand right in front of you, almost as if he's asking you to like either hold his hand or put something there. But before anything can happen, you see a small amount of soil be conjured onto his open palm. And you see a small little green vine spawn from the middle of this patch of soil in his hand. And a small sunflower emerges and blooms. And he plucks it with the same hand that it's on, with his middle finger and his thumb, and he presents it to you, Kirith.
She-
The Slayer Riz.
Carrot laughs a belly laugh and she says, "You're giving flowers to the wrong girl. But I will say, Slayer, this magic trick does not impress me. But you know what does?" And she pulls the star out of her pocket and she says, "What impresses me is that you have earned the trust of everyone in this town, and you take care of good people like Micah." And she puts the star in his hand.
As you place the star in his hand, he takes the sunflower and he puts it on the table in front of you. And wiping the soil away from his palm, he grabs hold of the crystal. And
I give the sunflower to Ears, by the way.
aw. As he palms the crystal, you all notice that the crystal seems to react. It's almost like there is a wisp of energy inside of the crystal. It's translucent, not fully opaque, not fully transparent, but translucent. And as this wisp spins and gyrates inside, it then becomes completely calm. And he puts his gauntlet underneath his left arm and pulls out his hand. And from underneath his gauntlet, you all see an immovable wooden hand. It's not articulated. It's essentially the hand that Jaime Lannister has in Game of Thrones.
It's Darkwood, isn't it?
It's, you can't tell. You could try perception.
Girl, I have to. Bitch, I swear. No, it's okay. Oh, that's a 24 on the perception.
Okay. The grain on the wood is not conducive with that of Darkwood. But it is a similar species. It is not Darkwood.
Okay.
And as you look at his hand, it is not articulated as a Warforged, for example, would be. It's solid. It's like it was carved from wood, from like a single log, into
I see.
the shape of a hand.
I see.
However, you do realize that while he's wearing the gauntlets, it seems as if the hand is articulated and it moves like a regular hand does. And as soon as he removes the gauntlet, the hand is solid. He takes the crystal and puts it on his solid arm. And the crystal changes colors. It's this blue-ish color, and it turns into this black. And as it turns into this black, you all see from within the crystal almost this fire that seems to erupt. And Slayer shakes his head, and it turns to green, and then to blue, then to white. And once it turns to white, the crystal exudes a light, like a light of a beacon that flashes onto the wall of the tavern. as a ranger, Ethel, you can tell that wall, the direction of that light beacon, is directly towards where the star mounts would be.
Oh wow. Okay.
And he looks over at you, Saltbrook. And very deliberately, he hands you the crystal.
I will accept the crystal.
And then he puts his hand in the gauntlet again. And as he does, she articulates all of his fingers. Almost like he's testing each one individually. And...
Literally.
Sorry?
He's got that unspoken riz, literally.
All right. And as that happens, hold on.
I would like to ask Mans one more thing if we are about to
Sure,
either move on or wrap things up.
Go for it. Ask the question.
Yeah, no, I would like. It's like I would ask you one more thing, Slayer.
He nods.
She signs to him with the draconic stuff. Would you allow a Drakeworm yearling into your city?
He signs. He signs, any friend of the dragon's blood is my friend.
She smiles.
And as he signs this, you hear in the distance a horn. A horn that you have never heard before, any one of you, except for you, Saltbrook. You know this to be a coalition horn.
Oh my.
Do you say that out loud?
No.
Just internal. No.
Internally, oh no.
Oh no, bro.
Screams internally. Her timing is impeccable.
My immediate reaction as a soldier is to stand and guard outside.
Darkness falls upon my shire.
As that horn pierces the mountain air, all of the citizens around you, their ears perk up and their eyes widen in terror. Slayer stands up and he adjusts his shoulders, cracks his neck, and we will end it here for this session.
No!
Can you end the
Bitch!
cliffhanger?
I want to start fucking shit up with my
Nice.
boyfriend! He doesn't know it yet!
All right. What a good session, man.
I had so much fucking fun!
Taylor, you fit like a goddamn glove. Fantastic. So happy.
I'm so
Fat
glad.
hug.
Fat hug.
The girl
That
code was
Elven
probably
hug.
my favorite part.
I loved it so much!
The what? The which one?
The girl code.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, when she was like, girl code, come talk to me. And I was like, what? And
Well-
she's like, yeah, the Warforged. And I was like, oh, yes, girl code.
The slight
nice.
shimmy. The shimmy to stage left is what got me.
Yeah. The shimmy was very good. Oh, man, what a good session. I had a ton of
Sorry I
fun.
came in so late.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
They worked out fine, yeah.
Yeah. And normally, obviously, we do it on Saturdays, but we managed to move everything to today since Emmy was free from work. And yeah, good session. Unfortunately, they're not here for this, but everyone levels up.
Yeah!
Yes, yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
Level
yes,
8,
yes.
baby.
I get to go impress him.
What's the next thing that you get, Ethel?
Oh, I have no idea. We're about to find out.
Find out. You get
Find out.
you get Land's Stride, non-magical difficult terrain, costs you no extra movement. You can pass through non-magical plants without being slowed, and without taking damage from them if they have thorns, spines, or a similar hazard. So you're now immune to thorns. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws against plants that are magically created or manipulated to impede movement, which means that Sylvania is now your bitch. Ability score improvement, which means you can take a feat if you would so like.
Right.
Hold on. Let me just see. Since you're multi-subclassing, you get to choose between Land Stride. Oh no, actually you take Land Stride. Never mind. Because Drake's Breath is on level 11.
Damn it.
I know. But it's listen, you're already multi-subclassing, don't complain.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
It's fun and you know it.
I know it is. Alright.
Also, I smell dead animal.
Oh boy. Saltbrook. What are you taking for level 8? Are you leveling up Warlock or Paladin?
I'm gonna level up Warlock this level.
Sick. And at level well, yeah. Oh. Did you already level up yourself to level 7 Warlock?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, so no nothing yet. No new shit. Kirith.
Rod, do you want to take a look at my spell slots to see if you're okay with the spells or if you want me to change anything?
Control flames, true strike, burning hands, comprehend languages, hold person, and knock. All of these seem perfectly fine for me. You're still missing one though.
I put it in the notes because for some reason it's not letting me add cure wounds.
Weird.
I don't know why.
Okay, that's fine.
D&D Beyond sucks ass spells.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's all right. Take your wounds first level. That's perfectly fine for me.
Cool.
Sick. So you're now Eldritch Knight level 8? Is that it?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. So you take an ability
I
score
was thinking
improvements
maybe
or
I can't
a
really-
feat? What's up?
I was thinking, well, I can't really do it since I'm a fighter class, because I was thinking of doing Battle Master because of her backstory. But I'm not sure.
The Battle Master feat?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Battle Master is a subclass though.
Oh, no, sorry, not as a feat, but like I was thinking of splitting her leveling and doing a subclass Battle Master.
Right, so you would also be multi-subclassing, just like Ethel.
Yeah, but I just wasn't sure if it was worth taking down her leveling as Eldritch Knight.
What exactly are you looking to get from Battle Master?
There is a thingy. Where is it? Where is it? It says it somewhere on here. There was a thing I was looking at when I was looking at
Oh, she gone. She gone.
Okay, well,
Alright.
if you guys stay around, figure that out. I gotta go pack my bag. I'm gonna go do night nurse for Nini Rod.
Okay, sweetheart.
And then-
By the way, Rod,
Yes.
I will be taking Fire Shield as a spell,
Mm-hmm.
and I will be taking Devil Sight as an additional ability. for my rank up, so I can see in darkness, magical, and non-magical.
Wait,
120 feet.
but what? For your rank up, where are you getting that from?
From the...
Oh, Eldritch Invocations?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Sounds good to me.
I can see in the dark.
Anything else you were going to say, sweetheart? Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, maybe I probably like hop on Solemn Void or something when I'm sitting.
Yeah, let's do that.
Just show my grandmother. Oh god, let me be morbid for 30 seconds. My recently widowed, beautiful grandmother.
Yeah,
Just like, come look at my zombie game, grandma.
yeah. I would like to dedicate the session to Pappy.
My peepaw.
He was a beautiful, intelligent, kind man, and I'm so sorry that he's gone, sweetheart.
Oh, as my dad put it while we were all with him, Godspeed, you son of a bitch. It was one of his favorite little things to say. I think he said it with like one of his siblings when, like, I don't remember what like show or movie of his it was from, but
Godspeed, you son of a bitch.
Godspeed, you son of a bitch.
Godspeed, you magnificent son of a bitch.
Yeah, Godspeed, you magnificent bastard.
Son of a gun.
I love you, Peepop. Alright, I'm gonna go pack my stuff.
Okay, sweetheart.
Great session, kids!
Fantastic session, man. One of the best ones we've had.
Woo!
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for letting me be a part of it.
Of course. So what was the thing you were gonna get? Because your connection died.
Oh yeah, my thing cut out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a thing I was reading about fighting styles, and it was talking about superior technique, and it's from the Battle Master class.
Right. Superior Technique 5e. Let's take a look at that. You learn maneuvers. Huh. Okay. So those maneuvers, they essentially work similar to like key points as a monk. You get to apply specific disadvantages like debuffs and whatnot. An additional resource. You gain a superiority die, which is a d6. It's the die is used to fuel your maneuvers. Die is expended whenever you use it. You regain them when you finish a short or long rest. Essentially, it gives you a new toy that can interface with combat in a way you can't without it. So you have all these cool maneuvers that essentially add on to different things you can do to your enemies. I gotta be honest, I feel like it's a bit of a waste because you can, like, it's anything you can do with superiority die, you could just ask me to do in combat. You know, like, instead of saying, oh, I'm gonna use my superiority die for a disarming attack, you could just say, oh, I want to try and disarm them. And that, it just happens, right? If you want, are you trying to be like more tanky? Are you trying to deal more damage? What do we got?
No, I'm just trying to match Kirith's backstory more because technically she was like the general of an army before, so I was thinking, does battle class match her better? But I just feel like Eldritch Knight matches like the components of what I want Kirith to do better.
Right. Maybe is there like a commander subclass? That'd be interesting.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Here's I think this is a homebrew. Yeah, this one's interesting. The archetypal commander provides his allies with tactics and maneuvers to gain the edge during a battle. They see opportunity in chaos and know how to direct others to seize these opportunities. Often they are veterans of war or have served in an army, but some just have a natural eye for the flow of battle. Yeah. Battle orders. You get 4 battle orders per short, long rest. At level 7, you have 5. At level 15, you have 6. You gain proficiency in history, insight, investigation, and persuasion. When you give a battle order, you can spend an additional use to give the same order to an additional number of creatures up to your charisma modifier. And then the orders are advance. They can use the reaction to move up to half their movement towards an enemy creature. After moving, they can make a melee weapon attack if they were not in reach of that creature at the start of your turn. Assist. Target creature can use the reaction to use the help action. Brace. That's super cool. This is a cool little thingy. Essentially, with your battle actions, you can give not extra reactions, but you can give single-use reactions to your allies out of their turn. So if you want to try doing something like that, yeah.
What level would I be to get like the minimum amount of that?
So for multi-subclassing, the way that I'm doing with Ethel is an arcane archer and a Drake Warden. What I'm doing is, as you level up fighter, once you level up, and you would have to choose between the new feature of one class or the other, you have to select one. You cannot have both. So every time you level up, you're either taking a level in Eldritch Knight or a level in Commander. So you get both of the lists of features, but as you level up, whenever there is a level that would give you a feature in each, you have to pick one. So if you start multi-subclassing right now, you will be technically a level 8 commander as well. So you get everything that comes with that, but from now on, every time that you would receive a new feature, for both Eldritch Knight and Commander, you have to pick between one of the two. That's how I've been doing.
Okay. So if I choose like instead of a feat like per level, I do like ability modifier
Uh-huh.
the situation, how does that work?
Oh,
Does that not affect that at all?
No, it does not affect that at all. Because ability score improvements, I believe, happen at the same level for every class. That being fucking level 4, level 6, level 8, level 12, 14, 16, and then 19th. I believe those are the levels that every class gets ability score improvements. So you can always pick a feat. The only feats that are locked behind story are anything related to awakenings and anything related to Indominus transformations. Those are the two that are story related and cannot be picked by players from that.
Got it. Okay. I'm not really sure how to do the split on my page.
What specifically?
For the
Multi-subclass?
yeah.
Yeah, no. It'll be something that we're gonna keep track of.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, the player's handbook and the DM's guide, they say nothing about multi-subclassing. This is 100% experimental, and we're doing it essentially on the fly, based on what we're able to make balanced. So, if you want to add to your notes that you are Eldritch Knight and a commander, or an Eldritch Commander, if you want to call it that. Because Ethel calls herself an Arcane Drake Warden instead of an Arcane Archer Drake Warden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have any questions, just text them to me. I am going to be playing Project Zomboid, which means that I have plenty of time to answer questions and help with stuff.
Cool. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course, bud.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna hop off the channel, but thanks, guys, for the good session.
Of course, thank you, Taylor. Welcome to the Wardens, baby.
Thank you. Thank you. See you next time.
Take care. All right. How's the kitty? Okay. He is busy with the kitty. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I will see you next time.